Hey, I'm Heidi. I just recently finished my second 10-day silent Vipassana meditation retreat, and I want to share with you about the experience. So I'm going to sing you a little song. On the first day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me the discipline of silent retreat. And a lot of discipline it is. 3:45 in the morning, that wake-up bell rings, and meditation practice starts at 4. There is 15 hours of walking and seated meditation each day, and no talking, no eye contact, no gestures, no reading, no writing, no singing, no dancing. You want to, no, wait, can you no? No. You want to meditate? Yes. Meditation you can do. That's about it. I mentioned specifically no singing and no writing. So naturally, I wrote a song about my experience while I was there. On the second day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me a stream of endless judgments. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Turns out when I get quiet and stop being so distracted by the world around me, the voices inside my head are really, really judgmental jerks. That's something interesting to deal with. And the discipline of silent retreat. On the third day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me a compound full of zombies. Walking meditation was part of the practice, and walking meditation happens very slowly with a lot of awareness in every step of the feet. So therefore, especially after dark, when you're in the garden of the monastery looking out, you just see all of these figures with their clothes slightly blowing in the breeze behind them, walking very slowly. And it really does look like the zombie apocalypse. Pretty exciting sometimes to be in that compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. It occurs to me I should mention I'm saying on whatever day of Vipassana the Dhamma gave to me. You may not be familiar with that word. Dhamma basically means this way of practicing. So it kind of means this practice gave to me. On the fourth day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me pleasure from pain. That may sound a little weird. Not what you'd expect to hear about at a monastery. But it's kind of cool. Those long periods of sitting, in my experience, always inevitably bring some pretty exquisite pain. The body just doesn't like to sit still for that long. And on the fourth day of this retreat, I started to get into what the teachers had told us, that pain could become a really powerful focal point for our meditation, to keep the brain zooming in on what are the particulars of that sensation, and what is that sensation when I strip away all of the thoughts around it, when my brain isn't worried about, oh, this pain means there's a problem, oh, I shouldn't be in pain right now, and when there aren't all that thoughts and it's just the sensation, there's actually a surprising pleasure of being there in the moment with it. So that's how it is to find pleasure from pain, compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. On the fifth day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me, man, I'm so hungry. There's no dinner at these meditation retreats. Breakfast happens at 6 a.m. after a couple hours of practice. Lunch happens at 11 a.m. So that means there's like a 5.5 hour eating window to get in your food for the day. And if you don't want to be all heavy and sluggish through your meditation and falling asleep through a lot of it, then you want to kind of eat lightly, or at least normally. You don't want to overeat those 2 meals. So you end up being, man, oh so hungry. Pleasure from pain, a compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. On the sixth day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me freedom from responding. This was a neat hurdle to cross over. This day there was a bug walking across my forehead. And of course you want to brush that bug away. You want to brush that bug away. And we're encouraged to just sit still and feel these sensations. And this bug started to crawl down and over my eyelid. And it kind of hit me in that moment that I'm conditioned to think this bug on my face is something that I have to take action about. In essence, I become a slave to this bug because I have to wipe it away. I have to do something to deal with it. And the first several days of trying to not respond to these things, it feels like an effort of a lot of self-control, to not scratch the itch, to not move away from the pain, to not brush the bug. But on day 6, I started to get that actually there's a great rest in not responding to all these things. The fact that I'm feeling some sensation doesn't mean that I have to take an action. Yeah, there's a bug on my eye. And I don't have to do anything about it. And when in normal life, I'm so used to having to respond and do things all the time, even if that's just analyzing everything that comes at me, the freedom to not respond, regardless of the stimulus, it's actually really cool. Really cool to have the freedom from responding. Man, I'm so hungry. Pleasure from pain, a compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. On the 7th day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me a deeper way of sensing. We were doing noting practice throughout the week, which is where you label each thing you're doing. So if I'm picking up a water bottle, I'm lifting. If I'm taking a drink, I am unscrewing. I am drinking, swallowing, lowering. Just noting every step of what you're up to. And it's a great part of mindfulness practice to just keep the brain really present in right now instead of the 5,000 other places, past and future, that it may want to be jostling around. But on day 7, I started to understand an additional principle that our teachers had been telling us about, that we could note like a cork floating around on the surface of water in a superficial way, or we could note like a stone sinking down into the depths of the water. And what it was to note like a stone is to really pay attention to the nature of things. And there was a series of different ways of looking at sensation that we talked about. Is the sensation hard or soft, heavy or light? Does it move? Is it hot or cold? And not only is that a deeper way of coming into this mindfulness, which is just cool for keeping the mind more busy, but I started to get that if everything can be understood through the facets of the sensation of experiencing it, then I can have that actual experience, maybe, of this Buddhist philosophy of no self. Like if everything is just hot, soft, moving, and every moment of my life experience starts to really be experienced and understood on those terms, then it seems to me that it would naturally follow to have this experience that the Buddhists talk about of mind and self rising with each moment and then passing, and a new mind rising and passing. They say there is no continuous self that runs through. That's an illusion. And that illusion is where desire and aversion and ultimately all of our suffering stem from. So, long story short, this deeper noting practice seems like it could hold the key to the end of suffering. Pretty darn cool. and pretty neat to really contemplate in a deep way. That deeper way of sensing freedom from responding. Man, I'm so hungry. Pleasure and pain, a compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. On the 8th day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me restlessness to dance with. I suppose that's to be expected after a couple days of really cool, profound insights. I just could not sit still on the meditation cushion. Fortunately, in Dhamma talk that afternoon, the teacher just happened to mention that restlessness was another thing that we could note, just like anything else. Restlessness, restless, restless. Sure enough, noting it helped take the edge off, bring me back to focus. Away from that restlessness to dance with, deeper way of sensing freedom from responding. Man, I'm so hungry. Pleasure and pain, a compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. On the 9th day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me a kill switch for the chatter. This was great. In sitting meditation up till this point, sometimes several minutes would go by before I would catch that I had wandered away down some thought train. Super common experience, super frustrating experience. I tried noting thinking. I tried noting planning, because my thoughts are pretty much always planning for the future, the vast majority of the time, personally. But somehow that note, thinking, planning, would just get mixed in with the thinking and planning and keep me wandering down that thought path. So one moment here on the 9th day, I realized I had wandered down that thought path and I was hearing my mind just chattering away. And I realized I was hearing my mind just chattering away. And I had gotten quite used to, at this point, to noting hearing to outside stimuli. Bali is not a quiet island, and there was construction and dogs barking and roosters crowing and the theme park just over the hill causing all kinds of noise. Yeah, we were silent, but the retreat was not silent. And hearing was a great way, just noting that, was a great way to keep my attention from being pulled to all those sounds outside. So I tried it, hearing this sound inside. I noted that thought as hearing, and it totally worked. It quieted the thought. Just for that moment, of course, and I had to continue noting, hearing as thought arose again, but it kept me out of that inescapable slide down chattery thought hill that I'd been on up to that point. So a couple things I took away from that are, one, chew on this one for a while, the notion that maybe this division between outside world and inside world that seems so real is maybe not so real. If the response to noting was exactly the same to external and internal stimuli, maybe that whole division is illusion. Dude. Second thing I took away was sometimes in noting practice, for me, there's a trial and error to find the right label that will help me have the desired refocusing effect. So worth a little playing with. To find that kill switch for the chatter, restlessness to dance with, deeper way of noting freedom from responding. Man, I'm so hungry. Pleasure and pain, a compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. On the 10th day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me chance to try it in the real world. Yep, retreat comes to an end. Time to take all this practice, take it back into the distracting, busy, chaotic bustle of real life. And thus, the practice continues. I'll let you know in the future how that's going. Let's take this whole last verse from the beginning. In case you've been following along, you can sing it if you know it. On the 10th day of Vipassana, the Dhamma gave to me time to try it in the real world. Kill switch for the chatter, restlessness to dance with a deeper way of sensing, freedom from responding. Man, I'm so hungry. Pleasure and pain, a compound full of zombies, stream of endless judgments, and the discipline of silent retreat. That's my experience. If you go on retreat, I hope you enjoy the rich challenges and rewards that can come out of it. Even though you can't talk to anyone while you're there, know that you're not alone. There's many of us that have gone through the same struggles, and hoping it'll be very rewarding for you on the other side. If you don't go on retreat, no worries. I wish you much mindfulness and ability to be in the present moment wherever you are in your life's journey. As we would say at the end of each day on retreat, may all beings be free from suffering. May all beings everywhere be at peace.